All right, we back. All right, so look at all of humanity as being in one ginormous school with many, many classrooms of people groups. All right? What the Father did is he looked at this school, he looked into this school, and he saw Israel. He saw Abraham. And for some reason, he liked Abraham. So he went to Abraham's classroom and he says, Abraham, I like you. I like what you're doing. For some reason, I choose you to receive the cheat codes, my law to life. I want to give you my word. I'm going to give you my law. I'm going to give you the blueprint to how we do things in heaven. And when I give you this blueprint, if you will follow them, if you will do them, you will start to be blessed. The reason you will start to be blessed is because that's how I work. When you follow my word and you keep my laws, I, as a king, I bless those people. And when you follow them and when you do them, you're going to start to raise above everybody else in the school. Why? Because you have the cheat codes and the answers, the study guide to life, right? You have the answers to the test, all right? As a result, when you pass tests, you always go to other levels. You always go to higher levels. Everybody else in the school will be on the same level. They're going to be down here while you're up here. But the reason you up here is because you're following my word, my law, my commandments. You're following the cheat codes, the answers to life, right? That's how I want you to look at this for the sake of this video. This is what's about to happen in Deuteronomy 28. This is the setup. There's a specific people that the Father wanted to give his word to, so for them to follow it, be blessed, lived above all people groups, above all nations, and for every other classroom to look up at this classroom, seek these people for the information on how to live. And then these people were supposed to tell all of these people how it works, how to be blessed, and how to serve God. All right? That was the entire setup of Deuteronomy 28. So when you look in Deuteronomy 28, now it shall come to pass, if you obey my voice to observe carefully all his commandments, follow the cheat code, follow the study guide of life, follow my word. If you do that, right, I will set you high above all other people groups on the earth or in the school, right? You'll be above, not the beneath. Bless, not the curse. Anybody come at you, you're going to win in battle. You're going to win in war at all times. You are going to govern all peoples of the earth because I'm going to bless you to do so. You're going to lead everybody else in the school according to how I want earth done. That's what you're going to do, right? That is Deuteronomy 1 through 15, chapters 28, verses 1 through 15. If you read all of those verses, you will see all the blessings and all the perks and advantages that Israel was going to have if they followed everything that they were given in the law of Moses. They call it the law of Moses, but it's just the law, right? It's the law, the cheat code of life, the understanding of how God wants people to live. And if you live that way, he'll raise you up and he'll bless you. And you'll be above all people. That's Deuteronomy 28, 1 through 15. You'll see all of these beautiful curses. This is what Israel was at one time and was always supposed to be, right? Then at chapter 15, though, he says, look, I'm a king. I'm a king. You do good. Good is going to come to you. You follow these and you keep my word. When testing life come, if you do what I tell you to do, it's all good. But if you don't do what I tell you to do, it's gonna get bad. I will discipline you. This is law. And if you break my law, if you offend my law, like any legal system in the earth, there is consequences, right? And my consequences are my consequences. So don't think about my consequences like you think about America's judicial system or Europe's judicial system. Heaven has a judicial system that he handles things the way he wants to because he's God. Right? So, I'm going to read for you a specific verse because these curses are in Deuteronomy chapter 28, 15, all the way through verse 68. And I have to find a specific verse before I go through all of them and break each one down for you. So just give me a quick second, right? Let me make sure I got this. Got you. So in Deuteronomy 28, verses 45 and 46, right? Here's what he said these curses are going to be, all right? I'm not about to break them down one by one. He's about to explain how these curses are going to operate throughout all generations for the people of Israel. Listen, he says, moreover, I'll read 15, then I'll do 45. 15, but it shall come to pass, if you do not obey the voice of your God and carefully observe all his commandments, his statutes, his cheat code, his answers to the test in life. If you don't do that, all of these curses will come upon you and they're going to overtake you. All right? Now, go over to verse 45 and verse 46, and he's going to tell you how these curses serve for you. He said, moreover, all of these curses shall come upon you. They're going to pursue you. They're going to overtake you until you are destroyed. Why? Because you did not obey the voice of Yahuwah, your God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded you. You didn't do what I asked. Therefore, this stuff is going to happen to you, Israel. And they, the curses, shall be upon you for a sign and a wonder on you and your descendants forever. He said these curses are going to be upon you, and people are going to be able to look at you because they're going to be a sign upon you and your children in the future forever. It's a sign. And it's also going to help your children in the future when they see this sign. It's going to help them recognize who they are. God is brilliant. He's brilliant. Brilliant. They're going to be able to look back at what I said thousands of years ago. And they're going to look at themselves. And they're going to look back. And they're going to say, it looked like this is what we experienced. I know we experienced this. History tells us this was us on the slave ships. We've been killed all day long in these countries. We're nothing to these people. But it says it right here. Hold up. He says it that it's going to be a sign. It's going to happen. That people are going to start pointing to his word and seeing this word as a sign upon the descendants of Israel forever. Right? This all lines up with those verses in Isaiah 42, 46, 45, 44, all those ones we looked at. When he said, I'll proclaim it back here, and you're going to see it come to pass down there. And when you see it, know I'm God, return to me. All right? So here we go. Let's go through Deuteronomy 28, 15, on down to 68, verse by verse. And when we go down verse by verse, me and you gonna have a conversation. I'm not telling you all the things that the black community went through, all right? But you know for a fact the things that I'm about to say, we did go through. You might have more information than me. I might have less information than you, right? But we're gonna have a conversation, and we're going to see ourselves in the book. Black man, have you ever really thought to ask yourself, why is the black community like it is? And I'm telling you it's like it is because we received a curse from our God. Because our forefathers in the past didn't follow his law. So now we, the descendants of them, have these curses upon us. And now it's time for me and you to get it right. This is what the scriptures and prophecies in the Old Testament is all about. This is what it's all about. This is what the New Testament is about. I know your preacher gave you many different messages. He's never talked like this because he don't understand what he's reading. He don't see himself in it. It's because he's still asleep, but I'm about to wake him up. So here we go. Verse 16, Deuteronomy 28:16. These are the curses, starting at verse 16. It says, "Curse shall you be in the city, and curse shall you be in the country." Right? Now listen, this is not difficult. The city life and the country life. Either way, the black man struggles in both. He struggles in both, right? If you want to look at the city, Jim Crow laws, even in the times coming up through history, when Israel tried to get their city established, and built their temples and have a community amongst themselves, when they broke the law, you will see in the Old Testament that there was always outside nations coming into their city and ransacking their city and overthrowing all of their progress. Okay? It is the same way even today. But even today in the cities, the black man, say in America, and in the cities even overseas, we are considered as a lower class people, right? And we struggle. It seems it's like we can't get above unless we play sports. You know what I'm saying? Or we're rappers, or we just happen to get a blessing to get the education, or we just happen to get a creative idea, right? But outside of that, the majority of our people in the city, I mean, just ride. If you're in Omaha, ride down the north side of the city, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be. It gets way better. Stick with me, right? Cursed shall be, verse 17, cursed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. This is describing money and your savings and things which you are able to store. He said, cursed shall be your basket. You're going to look and you're not going to have much. You're going to always feel like, I mean, if this is your basket, you're going to always feel like you have about that much of your basket full and this much is empty. You just never really have enough. Cursed is your basket. Cursed is your storage. Cursed is your pantry. Empty. You never have enough. You never have enough. You just never have enough. You don't. All right. And cursed is your kneading bowl, right? Your kneading bowl. Cursed is your food, right? Cursed is your food. You never have enough, right? You go hungry. They got all these programs, after school meal programs, and who you think they're thinking about? They're thinking about the impoverished people. Who is that? Me and you. Of course, other races are in there, but for the most part, it's the black man, right? They always talk about giving us handouts because we ain't got nothing. That's a fact. Verse 18, cursed shall be the fruit of your body and the produce of your land, the increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. Okay? Your offspring are your children, right? He struggled, his daddy struggled, his grandma struggled, we all struggle, right? That's the offspring of your body. That's the fruit of your body. The produce of your land, right? That is your crops. We ain't got no crops. How many farms we got? We ain't got that many farms. You go down south, there's some black folks with some farms, but they are not doing as well as the Gentiles farms at all. You gonna look at Nebraska and Iowa, all them crops, go and see how many black people own them cattle fields and them corn fields and them bean fields. Go see. We don't own that stuff, bro. We eat of it, but we don't own that stuff. All right? The increase of your cattle and the offspring of your flocks. All right, cattle back then was a way to understand wealth, right? The more cattle you had was like millions in the bank. You had the gang of cattle, you had money, you had dough, because they were traded for money, right? So cursed be your cattle, cursed be your bank accounts. You ain't got much. You ain't got much at all, and you know you don't. A couple of us do because they take advantage of our athletic ability so that they can make money. Listen, bro, if LeBron James got a contract of $200 million, all right, the person who paying him got a payday of $200 billion. Stop it. That is not a lot of money in the big scheme of things. That's why they're willing to give him that money. Don't be ignorant. All right. So here we go. That was verse 18. Verse 19. Cursed shall you be when you come in. Cursed shall you be when you go out. It don't matter what you do. You know, you will never get up high. You will never be the most sought after. You will never have more than the next man. You will always just be below. It is what it is. When you come, they gonna know. When you go, they gonna know that you are a Negro and you don't have much. Curse coming in, curse going out. He gonna get real specific. We got a lot of verses to go. 20. Yahuwah will send on you cursings, confusion, and rebuke in all that you set your hand to do until you are destroyed and until you perish quickly because of the wickedness of your doings in which you have abandoned my law. Right? He gonna send on you confusion. I just can't understand. We trying stuff and trying stuff and trying stuff. Why don't it work? Why don't it work? Trying stuff and trying stuff and trying stuff never works. He's gonna send on you rebuke. Rebuke is not that, hey, I'm telling you what you do wrong. Rebuke is when you try to do something, I'm gonna cut it down. I'm gonna send rebuke on you. It's gonna fall apart and it ain't gonna work. It's just not gonna. Why? I ain't gonna let it work. That's what you get for breaking the law, right? He said, I'm gonna do this until you are destroyed and you perish, right? You worked and worked and worked and worked hard. Think about your grandpa who had dream after dream after dream. He tried, and he never got it. And one day, grandpa died while chasing the dream, right? Until you perish, I'm going to do this to you, right? Verse 21. Yahuwah will make the plague cling to you until he has consumed you from the land which you are going to possess, right? The plague is like, say, if you had a crop, he gonna send a plague of locusts to eat all your crop. He gonna send a plague of bugs to eat all your crops. He gonna make sure that what you have tried to gain for yourself is destroyed, all right? And that goes back into verse 20 as well. When you try to get it together, I'm gonna cut it down. You know, that's what, we got this saying or this feeling in our community that what can go wrong will go wrong because it just always seems to go wrong. Why is that? Why is it that every time I get ahead, something happens and knocks me right back down to the bottom? Why is that? Right? You say this happens to all people groups. It don't happen to them like it happens to us. And they know it and you know it. Stop. So here we go. I'm not mad. I'm just passionate. Right? Verse 22. Yahuwah will strike you with consumption, with fever, with inflammation, with severe burning, with the sword, with scorching, with mildew. They shall pursue you until you perish. Consumption, fever, inflammation are all sicknesses, diseases in your body. There is no, go look it up. Go see who leads in every category in the area of disease and sickness. And you will see that it is the brown-skinned man, the black man, who leads in all category of disease. Go look it up. We're on the top of that category, right? The sword. What is the sword? The sword is the weapon. He's going to send on you the weapon. Who gets killed in the streets by more gun bullets than anybody else? The black man. He's going to send on you the sword. He talks about that later in these verses. He talk about gangs. I'm going to get to it. He talk about street gangs, Crip blood. He talk about it in the book. Stay with me. Here we go. He said, I'm going to do that till you perish. Verse 23. And your heavens, which are over you, which are over your head, shall be bronze. I'll start over. And your heavens, which are over your head, shall be bronze, and the earth, which is under you, shall be iron. You're going to pray, you're going to ask, you're going to pray, and it's going to feel like you can't get nothing from God. I don't get no answers to my prayers, so I just stop praying. I heard that so much. Every time I pray, don't nothing happen, so I just stop praying. Deuteronomy 28:23. It's going to be like the heavens are bronze, like it's shut to you. There's no way to get a blessing. And the ground beneath is iron. There's no way to work the ground and make it happen for you. Yeah, you're doing a little bit of hustling, but you only have just enough to survive. That's all you're going to have. But you're still perishing. You don't have enough to live abundantly, right? You can't get it from below, and you can't get it from the ground beneath. You can't get it from above, and you can't get it from the ground beneath. It's like you stuck. You stuck. 24. Yahuwah will change the rain of your land to powder and dust. From the heaven it shall come down on you until you are destroyed. Basically what he's saying, he's gonna snatch your blessings. You don't have rain. It's like you have nothing. You're dry. You're gonna turn it into powder and dust. You don't have rain. There's no blessings raining down on you. There ain't no blessings raining down on you. All right, you got just enough so that your bones your skin don't stick to your bones, and even still, you're dying slowly. Right? 25. Yahuwah will cause you to be defeated before your enemies. You shall go out one way, they shall come against you, and you're going to flee 7 ways before them. And you shall become troublesome to all kingdoms of the earth. This is a huge scripture. He said, your enemies will defeat you. And in every nation you go into, you're going to be looked upon as a people who cause trouble. You're going to be troublesome to all the nations on the earth. You're going to be looked at as a people who only cause trouble. Why you think that you are kept by Jim Crow laws back then, but it even exists today, that black people are made sure that they stay in a certain area? There's a couple out there in the white neighborhoods, you know what I'm talking about, but for the most part, y'all all in one area. And you are viewed as people they do not want coming into their neighborhood. They gonna come with their loud music, they barbecue, fighting, arguing. They're going to bring our property value down. You're going to be looked at as troublesome among all nations. This is not only happening in America. Get your little, your small thinking out the way. Go to Haiti, go to Jamaica, go to Europe, go to every nation, go to Brazil, go to Mexico. If you see us there, this is how they look at us. This is how they look at us. As a troublesome people. And every time we rise up to do something, we lose every battle. We might square up every now and then because we can fight better than most nations. We might knock somebody out in a one-on-one fight, but for the most part, we lose the battle. Whether that be in court, whether that be in any way, especially in court, we lose the battle. We lose. We lose. Because he said we will be defeated by our enemies. Huh? Black men. Come together and everybody come together, stand strong. We can get all the black people on the earth, stand strong, come together. Let's go after our oppressors. Let's go to war. That's cool. You on the ground with the guns we got. What your enemy gonna do? He gonna get in planes and tanks, and he gonna snipe you like ants from the air. You lose the battle. Your enemy has the blessing of the sword against you. He has the blessing of the weapon against you. You can't do nothing with his arsenal. It just is what it is. That's because it's a curse upon you. If we would have followed the commandments, that would be us. We'd have the bomber planes. We'd have the fighter jets. We would have that, but we don't. We got handguns. And we can't do nothing but surrender when we see that tank pull up. You ever see a bullet as big as a table? We ain't got that. You ain't got that. Your enemy got that. "26. Your carcass," meaning your dead body, "shall be food for all the birds of the air and the beasts of the earth, and no one shall frighten them away." Have you ever seen pictures of black people who were hung in the time of slaveries? Go Google it. Go Google black people hanging from trees. And you'll see some pictures where there are crows on the head of the black person picking at his head. He just laying there dead. He was hung and lynched by a group of whites, and he just hanging there dead. And the birds of the air are eating his flesh, and nobody scares the bird away. White people are in the back just looking like, we got another nigger. Right? I wish you would laugh. If you white and you laughed at that, you sorry. But that's how it is. That's how it is, right? Over the course of centuries and generations, while we were being rounded up and sold to the European by the native Africans, sold on to the slave ships, many of us fought because we wasn't about that. You weren't about to take nobody. So we fought. And in fighting, they killed us and we dropped dead right there. Or many of us jumped off the side of the slave ships. Like, I'd rather die in honor than go to your country and be a slave. So we jumped thinking that we could swim back and got ate by sharks. There's many carcasses and bones of the Israelite at the bottom of the ocean, rotted away. The ocean was his grave. There was no funeral. "27. Yahuwah will strike you with the boils of Egypt, with tumors, with the scab, and with the itch, from which you cannot be healed." That goes back to all of the diseases we have. All right? This goes back to all the diseases, right? You've heard of the studies that they only do on us, right? Right? What do you think is happening in Africa? They didn't get AIDS until somebody came and gave it to them. They're always targeted. We are always targeted for a new disease. It's happening right now with the COVID vaccine. They want to put that disease in us. There's all types of evil in that vaccine, and they want to give that to us too. We don't have to talk about the syphilis, the syphilis study they did, where they rounded up thousands of black men, and they told them that they were giving them a vaccine to help them be a part of the study, and the whole time they were shooting up black men with syphilis. Go look at it. But it was prophesied thousands of years before it ever happened. Here we go. 28, verse 28. Deuteronomy 28, verse 28. Yahuwah will strike you with madness and blindness and confusion of heart. Madness. You ever see your brother get so mad, so fed up with a situation, he just go nuts. He just go crazy. He just snaps. And he might be beating up a cop now. He might flip on his wife, might flip on his kids. He might run off. He's so confused and frustrated with life, he just don't get it. He just don't get it. He confused. Why I can't get it together? Why we can't get it together? He just snaps. Or you might even see him walking down 24th Street, 16th Street, and he just walking out of his mind and he just talking to himself. Just talking to himself. In high school, he wasn't like that, but now he's like that. What happened? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 28 happened. He was struck with madness, blindness, and confusion of his heart. That's all he has. Now he's consumed with madness, confusion, and blindness. He can't see life and light at the end of the tunnel if it hit him upside his head. Read the next verse, chapter 29. And you shall grope at noonday, in the afternoon, as a blind man gropes in darkness. You shall not prosper in your ways. You shall only be oppressed and plundered continually, and no one shall save you. Oh my gosh. Do I have to talk about that? How many dudes during spring and winter that you see in our city sitting down on them buckets, doing nothing in the middle of the afternoon? Doing nothing, playing cards, with a bottle or with a brown bag with a little bit of the cheapest liquor in it. He might even have mouthwash in that bottle, just trying to get a buzz to get away from the madness of his brain, the madness and the confusion of his heart. They're doing nothing. All day long, they walk around groping at noonday with nothing going on for themselves. Oh my gosh. In every country, that is the black man. Not all of them. But there are more of them than there are those who got a little bit of blessing for themselves. He said, you shall not prosper in your ways. Everything you do, for the most part, won't be nothing. You shall only be oppressed. Do I have to talk about oppression? All right? That's one thing that we all agree upon. Black people are oppressed. Well, you didn't know that in Deuteronomy 28, he said it that very word himself. You shall be oppressed continually. It is the compilation of all of these curses. There's no group on the face of on the planet that has on them all of these compilation of curses. And that's why he can say in verse 60 and verse 46, that on these people, when they look and they see all of this bundle of curses on this one person, it's going to be a sign of who they are and who they are to me and what's happening and what they should be and supposed to be. And they should also follow it to their future, to know who they are going to be in the future if they return to my law through Yahshua. That's another conversation. Let's go on. Verse 30. You shall marry a wife, but another man shall lie with her. You shall build a house, but you shall not dwell in it. You shall plant a vineyard, but not gather its grapes. That happened with slavery in the slave trade and slavery in the 1700s all the way until it was abolished, and even after that. What happened? You shall marry a wife, but another man shall sleep with her. Do we have to talk about how the slaves will have a girl, but whenever the master got good and ready, whenever he got good and horny and wanted some from a slave's wife, he'll just go and call that wife in. Come on in the house. You nigger, you stay out there in that field. Get that cotton. Get that rice. Get them beans. While his wife is in the house with the master, fulfilling his perverted sexual desires. You shall build a house, but you ain't gonna live in it. We could talk about that. That happened in Egypt, but this verse came after Egypt. Did we do that? Yes. We built the master's house. We built the sheds. We worked hard. But we got to sleep under a tarp. Or we got to sleep in the worst part of the master's outhouse. You shall plant a vineyard. Oh, that was the crops. That's cotton right there. That's the rice fields. That's the sugar fields. You shall plant the vineyard, but shall not gather its grapes. You're not going to benefit from any of it. That's all for the slave master's benefit. Oh, it gets so much better. Watch this. 31. Your ox shall be slaughtered before your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. Your donkey shall be violently taken from you and shall not be restored to you. Ox was money, right? That was wealth, but it was also food. What he's saying is your provision is going to be snatched away from you. I'm going to snatch your provision away from your eyes, right? You might even raise that ox. And right when it's time, a peak season for you to take advantage of it, somebody going to come and take it and they're going to enjoy it and you're not going to enjoy all of it, any of it. That was our time in slavery. All right. And it happened. And listen, me and you, we don't understand slavery from America, but you have to understand that the Israelites went into slavery many, many, many times, even in the Old Testament scriptures. You have to read. The Old Testament is just a story of all of the slaveries and the curses, living out these curses that the Father, pronounced in this here chapter. All right. That's all that this is. It's just storytelling. This is your history. That's why they didn't want you to read this book. Verse 32, your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people, and your eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no strength in your hand. Here's what this is saying. This is what happened when they were gathering us up on the ships, or when we were on the ships and we got to the place we were going, and they put us up on the auction, Negroes for sale, right? They would take a family, a dad, send him to this country. A mom, send her to that country. Their kids, send one here, send one here, send one there. They would separate us. Your sons and your daughters shall be given to another people. And you shall look and fail because it hurts you so bad to see the child you raise go into the hands of a stranger and you don't know what's going to happen to your baby. You can't do nothing about it. Why? Because there is no strength in your hand to do anything about it. You don't have the blessing of the sword. Only thing you can do is fight. But when you fight, they're going to kill you. You're going to lose that fight. So you got a decision to make. Live to see what's going to happen, or fight for your child and die and still not know what's going to happen with your child. Tell me this didn't happen. Tell me it didn't happen. It happened. It's happening. The word of God is true. 33. A nation whom you have not known shall eat the fruit of your land and the produce of your labor, and you shall only be oppressed and crushed continually. We talked about that. A nation which you do not know. Israelites were taken from their land which God gave them, taken into strange lands where they would work, and the enemy or the oppressor would benefit from all of his work. America was built on the back of the Negro. Egypt was built on the back of the Negro. I ain't been to Europe or all those places, but I guarantee you at the bottom building is probably a Negro. 34. You shall be driven mad because of the sight you see with your eyes. You're going to sit back and you're going to see all of this injustice. And it's going to drive you freaking crazy. It's going to drive you mad. This is what's happening. You see it. You saw George Floyd. You saw Philando Castile. You see him. Drives you mad because of all the injustice and oppression and the evil and the murder that's being done to one group of people. Who doing this to this people? Who doing it? This is Black history. Here we go. Yahuwah will strike you in the knees and on the legs with severe boils, which cannot be healed, and from the soles of your foot to the top of your head, diseases, plagues, sicknesses. Right? Today we live very short lives, and I want to say it might have been the book of Jubilees. I'm sorry, I won't say which book, but there was a prophet that the Israelites listened to and followed and read. And he talked about how in the former days, people lived very long lives. But in the latter days, we were going to say if a man lived 70 years, he lived a long life. Whereas 70 years back in the older days was like being a baby. This is the curse. We will be struck with diseases and boils, and our lives will be cut short. How many black men you know live past 80? Here we go. 36. Yahuwah will bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation which neither you nor your fathers have known, and there you shall serve other gods, wood and stone. This is huge. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 36 is huge. And I'm about to break it down for you, right? Yahuwah will bring you and the king whom you set over you to a nation, a country which neither you nor your fathers have known. And there you shall serve other gods, strange foreign gods, wood and stone. If you go look up the Inquisition, a lot of people don't know about the Inquisition. The Inquisition was a time where black Negroes, after we were ran out of Jerusalem in 70 AD from the Jewish and Romish war, right? After we ran out of there, we went down into Africa, and some of us went up into the area of Spain and Portugal. All right, so a lot of us went further down south into Africa, into Egypt, because we always ran into Egypt when we were oppressed and had a war. But then many of us went up north and northwest to Spain and Portugal. While in Spain and Portugal, Of course, we didn't own the place. Of course, there was another nation. It's another nation. They ran everything. But while there, we could do a couple of things, and we began to make a little bit of money and be a little flashy, kind of like we are right now in America. As soon as we get some money, we want to go buy a chain. We want to, we want to do that. We was doing that retarded stuff even back in Spain and Portugal. And this was back in the 1400s. Go read about the Inquisition. What happened is we were in those countries still trying our best to follow the law of Moses. Our people kept the law of Moses and the Torah with us throughout our generations, trying to keep the customs, the feasts, Passover. We were doing the best we could while underneath the curses we had, trying to live right, trying to survive until our time on earth was up. All right. We followed the law of Moses, and we followed the faith of the Messiah that was promised to us, which was Yahshua HaMashiach, who also came and encouraged us to keep the law of Moses and to keep following the Feast of Tabernacles, Passover, all of those beautiful Jewish family feasts that the Father put in place in the law of Moses. We knew to keep those because we knew when we didn't keep those, we received these curses and got our behinds whooped, right? And so it was all about that for us. It was all about that for us. So in Spain and Portugal, when we began to get a little blessed, they saw it just like the Egyptians did in Exodus 2, that we were growing in numbers and growing with money. And they were like, we don't like that. In Spain, we don't like that. And so what they did is, in the name of Christianity, they came to us and said, you know what? Y'all need to stop what y'all doing. And as a way for them to get at us, they devised in their court systems behind our back that they would come to us and make us follow Christianity. And if we didn't follow Christianity, we would be killed, imprisoned, or thrown out of their country. Right? And so what happened, under the pressure of that, many of us was killed, many of us was thrown in prison, many of us was kicked out of Spain and Portugal. That's called the Inquisition. We were sold and taken to the west coast of Africa. And from there, we were sold on slave ships in the late 15, 16, 1700s. All right. But first, we were over in Spain and Portugal. They called us Black Jews, which is, Jews is a word for Yahudim, which Yahud is a name for Judah. Black Judah, the children of Judah, which Judah was a son of Israel. All right. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Jacob became Israel. Judah was a tribe, a son of Israel. So they began to call us Yahudim, which was Jews, which was children of Judah. Here we go. Go do your research. It's there. So what happened is, some of us went to jail, some of us died, some of us got kicked out because we refused to stop following the law of Moses. We refused to stop following the feast and the customs of our faith. And we would not embrace and accept Christianity, which worshiped on Sunday, which followed pagan holidays, which followed strange gods, right? But there were some of us that compromised because we didn't want to go to jail, we didn't want to die, and we didn't have no faith to feel like we was going to make it exiled from the country. So some of them compromised and started following Christianity and started serving gods of wood and stone. What is wood? Wood is the cross. You always see Catholics, and this ain't no cross. You always see Catholics walking slowly with their wood and their cross. Their cross has Jesus on it. Christianity is that religion of wood. Christianity comes to you, and everything they stand for, besides the fact that a Savior died for sins, everything else that they practice is pagan and anti-law of Moses. They do not follow any of the customs and the feast and the holy days commanded in this law at all. They don't keep the Sabbath. The Sabbath was the seventh day. They changed it to Sunday. Now all Christian churches meet on Sunday. Catholics changed it on Sunday. Christians adopted it. Christianity is Catholicism's daughter. It is what it is. All right. Christianity is that wood of stone. But when we were driven out of Portugal, a lot of us went into lands that were ran by Muslims. Christianity is that religion of that God of wood. Sorry, I said stone. But a lot of us were ran into countries of Muslims. And the Muslim religion is that God of stone. They all gather around that stone yearly and they pray. Right? So that's what this verse is saying. He will bring you to a nation which neither you or your fathers, your people didn't follow these nations. Your people did not follow these religions. Israel did not they don't know nothing about Christianity. They don't know nothing about Islam. Right? Which neither you or your fathers have known. And there you shall serve other gods of wood and stone. America claims Christianity as their main religion. So you trying to tell me all of America going to heaven with the way things are set up? We breaking down right now how a sector of people are being treated in America. But they're Christian though. They call themselves Christians. In the name of Christianity, they sold you onto a slave ship. It's true. Go read. All right? I always heard it, but until I went and read it for myself and saw that they felt like they were doing us a favor by taking us into slavery to teach our uncivilized, barbaric, Negro black skin how to be civilized and act like we got some sense by serving the God of Christianity. That's how they looked at the black man. They thought they was doing us a favor by giving us Jesus. But we already had Yahuwah and Yahshua under the power of the Ruach, the Holy Spirit, which was the foundation. They took Christianity, took it and perverted it, made it an angel of light, beat us over the head with it, and made us serve it in America and in their countries over far east. That's what they did. We were never Christians. Never. We followed the Messiah. We called ourselves followers of the way. All right? Or messianics, meaning we followed the Mashiach, the Messiah. Right? And they say, well, that's where you get the word Christian from. If you're going to look up the word Christian, it'll break you down, bring you all the way back to the word Krishna, Hare Krishna, which is a Hindu god. Has nothing to do with the Hebrew king, the Mashiach, Yahshua. The difference between Christianity is that Christianity is a polytheistic faith. What's polytheistic? They observe and honor the worship of many gods. That's why you have them serving many different feast days, like Easter. Easter is observant of one God, all right? Christmas is the observant of a completely different God. All right, you have to understand what they do. They'll all say Jesus, but when you go and research those different holidays down to the bone, you will see that there is a pagan god at the bottom of each of those pagan holidays. You are not worshiping Jesus on Easter. You're not worshiping Jesus on Christmas. Go read. We had nothing to do with these. So much to the point that in Spain, they came at us with guns and weapons to force us because we never did. Go read about the Inquisition. Verse 37. Deuteronomy 28, verse 37. You shall become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations where Yahuwah will send you or drive you. This is huge. You shall become an astonishment. Israel, you're going to be an astonishment. People are going to sit back and look at you like, what is up with these people? Why do they have the plight that they do? What is the problem? What is the issue in the black community? I can't wrap my head around why they have the life that they do. This is how successful white people who know nothing about the history, who are blinded themselves, this is how they look at us. They don't understand why we are how we are. You shall become a proverb and a byword. Here's what that means. The Father called you Israel. You are Israel. Or you were named by your tribes. You are a Benjamite. You are Yahudim, a child of Judah. You are a Danite. At the end of the day, you were an Israelite, Hebrew Israelite. That's what you were. But they gave you many bywords. Well, first, they began to call you just a regular old Jew. You're a Jew. Then they begin to call you a Negro. Negro is in Acts chapter 16. Simeon, who was a Hebrew disciple of Yahshua, they called him nigger, Niger. Go look it up in the Greek. Nigger is in your Bible. Acts 16. They called him nigger, right? As time went on, in Spain and Portugal, they began to call us Negro, which was an offspring of nigger, right? On the west coast of Africa, when they came and got us on slave ships, that whole land it's called Nigeria because the original word was Negro land, but they changed it to Nigeria because nigger or Negro land became offensive and they was trying to be nice. Now we're in America, and they called us black. Then it was like, no, don't call them black. So they call them colored. No, don't call them colored. Now we're called African Americans. These are all bywords. You shall become a proverb and a byword in every nation that the Father sends you to. This is truth of the curses on your life. Look it up. Here we go. 51 minutes. Hopefully this don't cut out. If it cut out, I'll come back to you and finish it. All right? 38. You shall carry much seed out to the field, but gather in little, and the locust shall consume it. This goes back to you working hard, working, but bringing in very, very, very little. You doing all that work, and all they want to give you is $10 an hour. You shall put out a lot, bring in a little. After slavery, this is what happened. They couldn't call us slaves no more, so they began just to call us indentured servants. Right? We left the master's house, but we didn't know what to do. So we went back on a hired basis. We didn't live with them, but we still worked for them. All this work for little pay. 39. This goes back into 38. You shall plant vineyards and tend to them, but you shall neither drink of the wine or the grapes for the worms. For the worms shall eat them. So I'm gonna read that again. You shall plant vineyards and tend to them, but you shall neither drink of the wine nor of the grapes from the vineyard, for the worms shall eat them. It's gonna be like, you're just gonna feel like something is always taking your prosperity. Something always coming to zap it. What's a worm? A bill? Debt. These are all worms. Shall come and take your money. Right? It's all in the book. Our whole life is in this book. 40. You shall have olive trees throughout all your territory, but you shall not anoint yourself with the oil, for your olives shall drop off. Everything you work for is going to fall out of your hands. 41. You shall birth sons and daughters, but they shall not be yours, for they shall go into captivity. They'll be sold into slavery. That has happened. They'll be sold into slavery. We already know what happened in the slave trade, but do we need to talk about what the new slave system is? It's called the prison system. Your sons and your daughters are sold into slavery in prisons right now. They're building license plates, doing this, doing that for 2 cents on the dollar. They're sold into it. The judges make sure the jails stay full so that the guy above the prison can make money. They have a quota, keep my prisons full. And so they make sure the laws give us time. They make sure all the laws violate the things that we like to do. And when they bring us in, they send us away for years as slaves and prisoners. Your sons and your daughters shall be sold into captivity. It's all full circle. Do you see it yet? I know you got to see this. Read the whole chapter. Let's keep reading. Locusts shall consume all your trees and the produce of your land. We talked about that. He says this over and over again just to let us know, you're going to try. You're going to try. You're going to try. But you won't be able to sustain what you have. You won't be able to sustain it, right? We fought for equality. Equality. We want to be equal. We want to be equal. Yet we still feel like we're not equal. Well, that's because the blessings in Deuteronomy 1 through 15 said nothing about you being equal. You are missing the mark if you're chasing equality. Equality is low-hanging fruit. Why would you want to be equal to everybody else in the school when he came to you to raise you above everybody in the school? You're supposed to be teaching and being above, not to beneath. There's no such thing as equality in the kingdom for Israel. You're above, not beneath. It don't say you're equal, you're above. Why would you be equal to the Gentiles? You're teaching them. And I feel it. I know that's uncomfortable. I know you might feel like, oh, that ain't right. I don't know about that. That's racist. You sound racist and prejudice yourself. I didn't say it though. It's right here. I will bring you above every nation. I was raised with that whole equality thinking too. We're all people. We're all the same. That ain't what he had in mind. Now that we all the same, we all running around getting vaccinated, all retarded together. Everybody's stupid because somebody's equal. We're all the same. No. Now we got the Gentiles want to put those who are disease stricken into camps because we don't want to take the vaccines. Equality is going to kill us. You better take your normal position. You better take your rightful position and save humanity, Negro. That's what you better do, black man. I'm not mad, I'm passionate. Let's keep reading. The alien, the foreigner who is among you shall rise higher and higher above you, and you shall come down lower and lower and lower. The alien, the foreigner. Them Asians, they come over here, they buy up everything. We buy all our hair from them. All our products, everything we got is made in Japan and China. The foreigner who is among you shall raise higher and higher above you. The foreigner. Everything we enjoy, the white man has control over it. They didn't create it all. There's a lot of Hebrews who created a lot of things that the world enjoys right now, today. We created it, but we don't get the credit for it. A damn family of ours got royalties from these things that we created. The light bulb. Which black family got royalties from that? Show me. The white man controls it. The foreigner shall become higher and higher and higher above you, and you shall become lower and lower and lower. That's Deuteronomy 28:43. That tells your story, black man. He shall lend to you. Who? The foreigner. This is verse 44. He shall lend to you, but you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. How many times you go into the loan spot today? The paycheck loan spot. Getting little loans just to pay your bill. Huh? How many loans you gave out? In ginormous numbers. The majority of the black man is only a borrower. He is not a lender. Whether that be for his car, his house, his food, or his bills, the Most High said, you're going to be a borrower. And when you borrow, you become enslaved to that debtor that you have to pay off. You have to bust your butt 3 times over to give him what you owe him and to do what you need to do for you. It's like oppression 3 times over. Straight up. Famous verses 45 and 46, which we open with. He said, look, all of these curses, they're going to come upon you. I'm telling you, you don't obey my word, all of these curses will come upon you. They're all coming upon you until you are destroyed because you did not obey the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and law. Israel, black Negro, all right? You were supposed to be following the laws of Moses all along. All right, but now there's a doctrine in the church that you don't have to follow it. They're still trying to keep us from it. That's not true. That's why he's raising me up. But he ain't only raising me up. There's thousands of us. You just don't listen to him. You call them Hebrew Israelites. Do I look like a Hebrew Israelite? Yes, I am a Hebrew Israelite. But do I look weird and strange to you? No. And nor do my brothers look weird and strange just because they want to wear the garb that they're commanded to wear in the scriptures. I'm going to get me some too. Don't trip. "46. These curses going to be upon you for a sign and a wonder." People are going to be able to look at you and see this stuff on you, and it's going to be a sign that you are the children of Israel. You are the children of Israel. You are the children of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, scattered to all the four corners of the earth. Let's keep reading. We already read 46 and 45, 45 and 46. Let's go to 47. "Why is this sign going to be on you? Because you did not serve Yahuwah, your Elohim, your God, with joy and gladness of hearts, for the abundance of everything." You didn't serve him. You didn't want it. You didn't want it. You didn't want it. You didn't follow it. I came to your class and chose you above all the classrooms, and you didn't want it. So this is going to be your punishment. 48. "Therefore you shall serve your enemies, whom Yahuwah will send against you." You read in the Old Testament, nations around Israel always came into Israel and beat Israel. They might have won a battle here, a battle there, but for the most part, the Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Philistines, they all came in and would beat Israel, take people captives, take charge of their land. Israel would be in their land, but they wouldn't own their land. An outsider would run their land. It's crazy. "You shall serve your enemies, who the Lord will bring against you. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be thirsty. You're going to be naked. You're going to be in need of everything. And he, which is God, he going to put a yoke of iron on your neck until he has destroyed you." Do I have to show you all the pictures of us having irons on our neck as he sent us into captivity? We all walked with chains on our hands and iron around our neck to the slave trading platform where they bid on us. I'll take that nigga right there and look strong, and he can work for me for generations. I can make a lot of money off that nigga with a chain on our neck, on our hands. The scripture right here, but he told us he's going to put a yoke of iron on our neck until he has destroyed you. Listen, you say, well, we ain't destroyed, we still here. You do not understand the scripture. Destroyed does not necessarily mean he's going to kill you, though he has killed you. Destroyed also means this: the irons are going to be on your neck until you're destroyed. This scripture was fulfilled when they outlawed and abolished slavery. They took the iron off of your neck, but by the time they took the irons off your neck and off of your hands, you no longer knew who you were. They changed your name. They took your history and hid it because you couldn't read. You didn't know who you were. You were born in a slave's house, and he gave a slave master's house. He gave you a slave master's last name, and you were raised under the precept of Christianity and Western world. You didn't know anything about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and when you read that story, they made you think that those were their ancestors and not yours. They made you think that you were a child of Ham, cursed, not a child of Japheth, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, descendants of Moses, the chosen people of God. They took your identity and gave you theirs. So you're destroyed because you don't know who you are. I got brothers looking at me today. One dude told me nobody is qualified to say who Israel is. We are so lost and so blind. I asked him, so who are you then? I don't know who I am. So I got an inclination of who you are. You don't know who you are, but you want to tell me I'm not qualified to tell you to look into a possibility of who you are. We are so lost that we don't even want to look into who we are. We don't even want to look into it. And we don't even believe it when somebody tells us who we are. We got a whole doggone book detailing what the Father said will come thousands of years down the line to a specific descendants, a specific people. We don't even want to believe it. It's all a part of the curse. I will put a yoke of iron into your neck until you are destroyed. You'll be destroyed when you no longer have any connection to who I said I wanted you to be. You're going to be a common man, a mere man. I chose you to be gods. Psalms 82. I chose you to be gods, but you're going to die like a mere man. Destroyed. You're not going to have any inclination or any recollection or any remembrance of your royalty, your priesthood. But oh, I'm on this video because it was prophesied that in the end days, the sons of the descendants will raise up and have issue with the elders who abandoned the law. They were going to recognize who they are, and they were going to shout from the rooftops to wake up. Well, here I am. Here we are. I might not have it all together. I might not be the most politically correct. I might not be the face that you might want to listen to, but the truth is on my tongue. "49. The Lord will bring a nation against you from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you do not understand." Oh my gosh. What nation has an eagle for a mascot? I'll wait. America. I'll read it again. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29 describes the person who would come and buy you into slavery. A nation from afar off, way across the Atlantic, from the ends of the earth, he will come swift as the eagle flies, a nation whose language you don't understand. We got on them slave ships. They couldn't understand us. We couldn't understand them. And they didn't want us to learn their language, because if we learned their language, then we'd be able to read their books and we would learn who we were and cause an uprising. There were small groups of people back then who kept the Hebraic Israelite faith of Moses. But they were small in number because there were so many being born in captivity, being made to serve gods of wood, that they didn't think twice. But there are many, many, many testimonies out there of those who knew who they were, even in slavery. Crazy. A nation whose language you do not know. They were going to come with a ship with an eagle as their mascot, a nation from afar. And you will be sold and taken to that nation. It gets better. It's a nation with fierce countenance, which does not respect the elderly nor show favor to the young. A nation who's angry, who don't show no love and respect for the elderly. They'll beat an old woman and an old man like they'll beat an old child. Emmett Till. Hung Emmett Till, 14-year-old boy. Killed his father. Hung his father. Lynched his father. Raped his mother. They show no respect for the old or the young. This nation whose mascot is the eagle. This nation from afar, who I'm going to send upon you as a curse. 51. And they shall eat the increase of your livestock and the produce of your land until you are destroyed. They shall not leave you grain or new wine, or the increase of your cattle, or the offspring of your flocks, until they have destroyed you. When this nation come and get you, this nation that's coming swift as the eagle with a fierce countenance, who don't respect your children or your people, they're going to take everything you work for. That's what happened in slavery. They're going to sit in the house on the corner on the porch with a whip in their hand, drinking iced tea while you out in the hot sun getting their produce that you work for. Slavery. 52. They shall they shall besiege you at all your gates until your high and fortified walls in which you trust come down throughout your land, and they shall besiege you at the gates of throughout all your land in which the Lord your God has given you. This was him talking about the destruction of Israel, and Jerusalem, the land of Jerusalem. The land of Canaan, which he gave them. Enemies were going to come around them and bash them and take their land. That happened over and over again, but it happened once and for all in 70 AD in the Roman and Jewish war. Go look it up. We had our land taken from us. We ran out of our land. Our land is Israel. Some will call it High Northern Africa, but I'm not really of that persuasion. I call it the Middle East. I call it Israel. We are not African. We're not children of Ham. So our land was given to us, and we had the blessing from God to rename it Israel. It's the land of Israel. It's not Africa. Verse 53, you shall eat the fruit of your own body, the flesh of your sons and daughters, whom Yahuwah your God has given you, in the siege and desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress you. Cannibalism. You're going to look back in our history, there's cannibalism. We've eaten our own young because we've been so stressed and so hungry on the run for our lives that when our children died, we ate them. Crazy, but it happened. But you can also turn the other side of that coin and see how parents today will even use their children. They'll destroy their children's credit for their own gain. They'll take money from their children and go gambling with it. Destroy their own kids to survive. Cannibalism. I know people right now whose credit is shot because their parents took their credit and did something with it they weren't supposed to do. Took their name, took their social security number, and opened accounts. You probably doing it right now. Stop that mess. What's wrong with you? I ain't mad, I'm just passionate. You want to see street gangs, Crips, blood, soup? You want to see it in the Bible? Here you go. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. The sensitive and very refined man among you will be hostile towards his brother. I'll read it again. The sensitive and very refined man among you will be hostile towards his brother. I'll break it down. Sensitive means, that's what it means. It means I'm soft. I care. I love. Refined means caring. So the sensitive, the caring, the person who once had brotherly love, he once had brotherly love, but now he's going to grow hard and harsh and have an evil eye towards his own brother. Street gangs. They hate each other based off of territory, based off of group name, group affiliation. Straight up. Deuteronomy 28, verse 54. The person who once had brotherly love will turn around and hate his own brother. You want to talk about divorce and domestic violence? Look in the same scripture. That person who once had brotherly love, he's even going to turn hostile towards his wife, and he's going to leave his children. Fatherless homes, fatherlessness, all in Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. Gangs, domestic violence, divorce, leaving the wife and the children, right there, all in that verse. Bless his name. Pray that this video don't cut out. 55. Well, let me finish reading 54, then I'll go into 55. Says the sensitive and refined man among you will be hostile towards his brother, towards his wife, and toward the rest of his children, whom he will leave behind. He gonna leave his wife, he gonna leave his children, and he gonna leave his brother. He gonna leave them. You won't respect your family. You won't have no love for your family no more. Crips and Bloods, especially in Omaha, they're cousins. They're cousins. You know somebody right now from this hood, but his uncle's child is from this hood, and they don't like each other. They don't treat each other like family. I was a gang specialist. I'm still a gang specialist. I know. You ain't telling me nothing. I grew up in the hood. I grew up banging. I know. The first time I ever saw my brother get into a fight was with my dad's nephew. He walks around the corner and just jumps on my brother because his OG told him to. And we weren't even in the gang yet. And you treat us like you didn't even know us. Jumped on us. And we was only 9, 10, and 11. No, we was younger than that. We was in elementary. You once had love for us, now you turning on us in the name of street gangs. So we grew hard ourselves. We had brotherly love, but when we saw that, when we saw our own family jumping on us, and we started to live amongst the black community, and we saw how everybody else was turning hard, treating people bad, we turned hard, nigga. We turned hard. Then we started banging. Nigga, meet me in the street. That's how I was. Excuse my language, but that's how I was. When I first got jumped into the hood, I was not cold-hearted. I wasn't. I remember times that I was afraid when the fight broke out, when the huge brawl broke out. But heck, by the end of the night, so many fights broke out, I ain't care no more. I'm picking up bricks, bottles. I'm swinging on everybody. I don't care. You look like me, I'm trying to knock your head off. On the set. On 1800 block, ask him about it. The OG will tell you there was one time that I shrunk back because I was like, oh, I couldn't believe the hatred that was coming towards me. I was fearful. But in an hour or two, it was happening so much. I'm on that now. I'm on that now. Now it's up there. Now I got guns and whatever. You see stacks, it's popping. Don't cross me. Don't cross me or my people. I once had brotherly love, like the scripture said, but then my eye became evil. Deuteronomy 28:54. Can't tell me nothing. I know who Israel is. You looking at them. Repent, return to the law. Or they's going to be on us forever. Verse 56. The tender, oh, you ain't out of this, girl. You in this too, girl. Here we go. The tender and delicate woman among you who would not venture to set the sole of her foot on the ground because of her delicateness and the sensitivity. She's all soft and pretty. She's cute. She's beautiful. Beautiful, loving, caring black woman. Here's what she gonna do. She gonna start to refuse her husband and her sons and her daughters. Husband gonna come to her? Hold on, somebody at my door. I'm gonna have to answer this. Hold on, let me see. Hold on 1 second. Oh. We good, so here we go. She gonna start to refuse her husband. He gonna come to her for what's his, for his husband, for his, he gonna come to her for what's his, which is her body. And she gonna refuse him. She gonna refuse him. I got a headache. I don't want to. Or all of a sudden she just got an attitude and she's bitter and don't even know why she's bitter, making up excuses not to be with her husband. She don't know why her soul turns. Her soul turns because of her curse from her God. And she don't know why she rejecting him. He don't know how to handle rejection. And he's entertaining other people behind her back because he can't handle being rejected. So he got a side piece. She do that to him and she do it to her children. Get on my face. Y'all get on my nerves. She's going to refuse her children. Cursed. "57 goes to talk about how she will fall into cannibalism too. That happened. Go look in our history. Cannibalism. Go look at our history. Verse 58. "If you do not carefully and observe all the words of this law that are written in this book, that you may fear the glorious and awesome name of Yahuwah your Elohim, then Yahuwah will bring upon you and your descendants, your children, extraordinary plagues, great and prolonged plagues, and serious and prolonged sicknesses, diseases, high blood pressure, cancer, this, that." Go look up the major ones in the black community. We need every category. We need it. Partly because our diet is so anti-Israelite. We eating like heathens and Gentiles. Processed and filthy foods. So we're diseased. Go Google what slaves ate. You're going to see big piles of intestines, pig intestines. We couldn't eat pig meat according to the law of Moses, but you're going to even go down even further than that and give us the pig's intestines where his boo-boo is? Yeah, chitlins. We eating that? Y'all know I'm right. You know I'm right. You know I'm right. We ate worse than that. Verse 60. This is a huge one. Here is also your transatlantic slave trade. This is specifically the transatlantic slave trade. I'm not talking about slavery in Egypt, slavery with the Assyrians, slavery with the Romans. I'm talking about the transatlantic slave trade that sent us to South America, that sent us up to Europe and Germany. I'm talking about the transatlantic slave trade that took us to all of these lands, that scattered us to every plot of land engulfed by the ocean. 60. Moreover, he will bring you back. I'm sorry. I saw Egypt, but I thought this was that verse. It's down, but let's read it. Here we go. It's still bondage. It's still slavery. Here we go. He will bring you back. He will bring back on you all the diseases of Egypt, on which you were afraid, and they shall cling to you. Those are diseases. Every sickness and every plague, which is not written in this book of the law, which Yahuwah will bring upon you until you are destroyed. Sicknesses, diseases, sicknesses. 62. You shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven in multitude, because you would not obey the voice of your God. You had a lot of numbers, Abraham. I told you, your people was going to outnumber the stars. But now, there ain't that many black people on the earth. We're hurting in numbers. That's a fact. 63. And it shall be that just as Yahuwah rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, that God is going to rejoice over you to destroy you and bring you to nothing. And you shall be plucked from off the land which I gave you to possess. I will take you out of Israel. I'll take you out of Canaan. I'll take you out of Jerusalem. And it's going to please me to do it. Why would it please God to curse and beat down this man who didn't follow him? Here's why. That whole school of people, of humanity, the Father had vision to bless them and bring heaven to all the people. And he wanted to do it through this classroom of Israel. This classroom in Israel was going to teach every other classroom. But we didn't do that. So we have blood on our hands. And since we have blood on our hands, blood will flow from our hands. It'll flow from our veins. This is why we get whooped. That's the big picture. We were supposed to show the world their sin so that they will repent and receive salvation and blessings from heaven, that heaven might look like earth. That's why Yeshua said, pray, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That was always the goal. Israel was supposed to follow the law, be taken to new levels, allow heaven to come on earth through them, and they were supposed to teach the rest of the school, the rest of humanity. We didn't do it. So we getting our behinds whooped. He is just to whoop us. He is just to kill us. You can't tell him how to run his court. Sovereign. This is sovereignty. You thought, Christians, he's sovereign. Yeah, he's sovereign. And that's why you have control over the black man, the Israelite. Oh, but a time is coming that we shall return. Those are all the prophecies in Jeremiah and Isaiah. Go read them. It's beautiful. Here we go. Number 64. This is what I was talking about a little bit ago with the scattering. And it's going to go into the transatlantic slave trade. It'll end that at 68. Here, last couple verses. Hallelujah. Here we go. Then Yahuwah will scatter you among all peoples from one end of the earth to the other. That's why you have black people in every nation. That's why you see black Chinese, Mexican Chinese, American Chinese, Jamaican. Back up, Deontay. Not Chinese. Back up, bro. That's why you have black Mexicans, black Chinese, black Jews, black Jamaicans, black Haitians, black Bohemians. You have black Germans. You have black everything. We're everywhere because he scattered us everywhere. I will scatter you from one end of the earth to the other, and there you shall serve other gods. You shall serve other gods, Gods, wood and stone. You will not have the original faith. You will have heathenism for faith. Though you think it's angels of light, though you think it is the right way, you think it's the truth, you think it's the life, it is a version of the truth, and it is a lie. It is not what I had for you. It is not. Those holy days, those holidays, that Sabbath is not my stuff. That's their stuff. You shall serve other gods, which neither you or your fathers have known. Wood and stone, Christianity, Islam, you name it. Now they got all types of stuff out here. Worshiping stars and I'm a goddess. I'm a goddess. I get the energy from the universe. You demonic. You demonic. I see you, sisters. Beautiful. Y'all gorgeous. But I also see you talking about how super hyper spiritual you are while you cussing and showing your booty all over the internet. That's why you don't get a husband. A good man knows to stay away from you. You are entertaining demon spirits. That's all you doing. I love you, but I'm sorry. It's the truth. We ain't have good ourselves, but you ain't either. And we ain't coming on that street. $65. And among those nations that I'm going to send you, you shall find no rest, nor shall the sole of your feet have a resting place. But there Yahuwah will give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and anguish of soul, a trembling heart. Black folks hear a sound, what we do? Gone. Nigga, what was that? What was that? I don't know, bro. What was that? Bro, that was a bird. Oh, bro. I thought that was the ops. I thought that was the police. We up and run for no reason. We just run. We run. We're afraid day in and day out that we're going to lose our life today at the hand of a cop, a op, or just circumstance. trembling heart, failing of eyes. Meaning what we see, we don't see nothing we want to see. We don't see nothing we want to see. Anguish of soul. We hate what we had. We hate what we have. We hate where we at. We hate this. I hate this life. Don't nothing go right. I know what I'm going to do. I hate it so much. I don't care. I'm going to slang this dope. I'm going to slang this tree. I'm going to rob. I'm going to steal. I'm going to make something happen. And then give God the glory for it. Backwards. Backwards. The only God you get who gets glory from that is Satan, the God of this earth. So you right. You blessed by a divine presence, Satan. 66. Your life shall hang in doubt before you. You shall fear day and night and have no assurance of life. I just talked about that. We fear death. We don't know when we get stopped by that cop if we're going to make it out. We are afraid, hands on the steering wheel, making no movements, hoping he don't start a confrontation and or just plain up shoot me and put a gun on me before they get there and say, I pulled this gun. I'm dead, Philando Castile. You told me to get the gun. You saw Philando moving slow, trying to be nice and respectful, and they shot and killed him anyway. We have no assurance of life. You hear George Floyd calling for his mom because he know right now I have no assurance of my life. Mama, come get me. They killing me. It's all a curse. In the morning, you shall say, oh, I wish it was evening. And in the evening, you shall say, oh, I wish it was morning, because of the fear which terrifies your heart. I just want the day to get over. I'm just trying to get through this day. And because of the sight which your eyes see, I just want to get through this day. I done seen too many homies die. I done seen too many people hung. I done seen too much death. I've seen too much depression and addiction. I've seen too much. I don't want to see this no more. I just want to go to sleep. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm depressed. It's too much on my people. Why is it like this? And then verse 68, which settles it for us. It settles it for us. This is the transatlantic slave trade. And Yahuwah will take you back into Egypt in ships. Ships. S-H-I-P-S. Ships. White man, you claim you Israel. You claim you're the Jew. Can you tell me any time your people got taken on a ship back into Egypt? Now let's talk about back into Egypt real quick. Because if you know anything, these were written over in the Middle East. They were basically in Africa. Basically, conversation depending on who you're talking to. All right, Egypt, you didn't need a ship to go to Egypt. You just walked. It might took a couple days, but you walked. Yahuwah said, I'm taking y'all back into Egypt in ships. You only need ships to go over water. So the word Egypt here is bondage. It means bondage. I'm taking you back into bondage, Jacob, the children of Israel. I'm scattering you into all nations by way of a ship. That is your transatlantic slave trade. I'm taking you back into slavery by a ship. That's why I told y'all last time, run your history. Do your best you can. Run your DNA. See where you see the lands your blood have come from. I ran mine, and my blood is right along the slave coast of Negro land on the west coast of Africa. Then they said my blood was among the originals of the Bloods who came to the lands of Virginia in the 1700s. Your bloodline was in the slave trade, is what they told me. I will take you back to Egypt again in ships, the way of which I said to you, you shall never see again. And there, when you get there on that ship, you shall be offered for sale to your enemies as male and female slaves, and no one will buy you. What no one will buy you mean? Nobody's going to stop them from selling you off. Nobody's going to save you from being sold as a slave. There's your transatlantic slave trade right there in the Bible. Hour and 30. This is about a 2-hour video with the other video. Woe to you who look at me as if I'm tripping. Woe to you. Shame on you. Because I just ran down to you Black history in Deuteronomy 28. Gentlemen, ladies, the Negro African American in every country, the majority of them are the biblical children of Israel. He spoke it. This book right here, Deuteronomy, was written in 1440, about 440 BC. That is about close to 4,000 years ago. Now today in 2021, we can look back on history, which gives us hindsight, clear sight, 2020. And we can now see who we are. We are the children of Israel. Our forefathers were given the law to follow in order that we might bless all peoples on the earth. It wasn't until maybe a couple hundred years ago that the white man became the superior man. Because there was a long while that we did exactly what God asked us to do. And you can read it in the Old Testament. But even over in Africa, there are some people who started following the law again, and their lands were very civilized. You go look at the Moors. The Moors were children of Israel. They had to teach even the people of Spain and Western Europe how to be civilized, how to bathe. All right, we were above, not beneath. But because these curses were already spoken, we would not be above for long. We had to come down. The Father thought about us in 2020. He knew that this would be. All right? But be encouraged. Maybe I'll do another video on the hope that we have in Yahshua, the Mashiach, the Savior. Although he does not stop all of the curses. When he came, he didn't come to stop all of the curses. We still dying. We still dying. So I got to get ready to go. Read these things, understand these things. I'll get with y'all.